Now that we're done with proper names, our next step would be to discuss definite descriptions. Now recall that definite descriptions were a subtype of definite reference. We also suggested that definite descriptions were a combination of a definite article and a common noun. For instance, a common noun is home. Adding the definite article the achieves a definite description, the home. So now the question we want to ask ourselves is, are definite descriptions purely semantic in nature, or is there a little bit of pragmatics mixed into the mix? Let's take a look at the first idea, where definite descriptions are purely semantic. This idea goes back to Bertrand Russell, who suggests that the meaning of a definite description involves two conditions, the first of which is existence, the second of which is uniqueness. So let's discuss the two. So the person speaking here in this video is the professor. So if we say the professor is speaking in this video, let's see what it takes for this sentence to be true and not to be false. According to Russell, for the sentence to be true, we need to take a closer look at the meaning of this definite description. This definite description needs to achieve two necessary conditions that Russell suggested. The first we suggested was existence. So we ask, does this professor that we're talking about exist? Well, of course he does. I'm speaking right now. The other one was uniqueness. What we mean by this is, can we uniquely identify which professor we're talking about here? In this case, we can. Yes, we are talking about me. We are talking about the professor speaking in this video. So that's achieved as well. Here's another example. The sun is very bright. Does the sun exist? Of course it does. Can we uniquely identify the sun that we're talking about? Yes, we can, since there's only one sun in our solar system. How about if I say something like, the other sun in our solar system is bright? What do you think this sentence would look like? Is it true, or is this sentence false? Actually, the sentence is false. Why is that? The other sun here is a definite description that we are talking about. Now we're going to apply Russell's two conditions for definite descriptions. It already fails when it comes to the first one. There is no other sun, and so it fails the condition of existence. How about uniqueness? Well, since it doesn't exist, it can't be unique at all. So it fails there too, and the result is a false sentence. But here's something to think about. The present King of France is young. Now by present we mean 2017. Now is this sentence true or false? Is there any problem with the sentence? Let's see what Russell has to say about the present King of France. In terms of existence, there is no King of France because France is not a kingdom. Uniqueness would also fail since there is no King of France. But here's the interesting part. You actually understood what I meant by saying this sentence. You understood that I meant the president of France is young. Now that is a huge difference, or there is a huge difference between this situation and a situation where I say the sky is green. Somehow this sentence seems blatantly false. The first sentence, on the other hand, doesn't seem very false, but just kind of a miscommunication, a misunderstanding maybe. Maybe I wasn't using the correct term. Notice that you understood what I was trying to say. You understood who the person was that I was referring to. But this one is just totally false. The problem with Russell's theory so far is that it does not make such a distinction. So far we see that things can be totally true if they abide by the conditions of existence and uniqueness. They can be totally false if they don't, and they can be somewhat in the middle. Okay? This is the part that Russell cannot handle so far. How is it that you were able in this case to identify the referent I was speaking of, even though I did not use the correct words to describe that person? Perhaps the indefinite descriptions are not purely semantic. Perhaps there is some pragmatics in the mix. This is where Searle comes in and suggests that when it comes to these conditions, maybe what we should say is that it is not necessary for uniqueness to take place totally out of intention and context, but rather it is that the speaker intended for the hearer to be able to uniquely identify the person talked about. So when we said that the present king of France is young, what I meant here was for you to understand that what I meant was the ruler, let's say, or the president, or whoever's in charge of France is young. So now that intentions of the speaker are involved in the mix, that means that we have moved towards pragmatics and not pure semantics. And that's all we have to say about definite descriptions for the purposes of this course. Have a good day.